On this day in 2011, StephenPlays was created. It is now 7 years later. 7. This many. Or, if you're fun, this many. Holy crap. It's a lot of years. Now, every year on StephenPlays, at the birthday, we do a stats video where we go over all the stuff that happened in the last 365 days on the channel. If you knew about that, then that's probably why you clicked the video. If not, stick around. It's interesting. I think it's interesting. So first off, we're going to talk about totals thus far. Where is StephenPlays in the scope of YouTube? Well, currently we have 149,000 subscribers. That's not too bad. As long as we don't go backwards, which hopefully won't happen, we will cross over that magical threshold of 150K this year. Woo! That's exciting. Views, 92 million. That's a lot of millions. We will get, presumably also, to 100 million this year. That means we'll go from having 8 digits to 9. More fingers than I can hold up in front of the camera. And then a new metric that I've never talked about before, but I thought would be interesting because we produce so much content. The total amount of videos that are hosted on StephenPlays. Any guesses? I'll give you a minute. Nope, more than that. More. 4,631. There are 4,631 videos on StephenPlays as of right now. You might be saying, that's a lot. Correct. Correct and great observation. That's the totals thus far. Now we're going to talk about just things that happened in the last 365 days, which will, from here on out, be referred to as year 7, because it was the 7th year of the channel. So how many subscribers were gained in year 7? Obviously, I'm going to be rounding to the largest number, either up or down. 15,000. We gained 15,000 subscribers in our 7th year. We had 18.5 million views. There were 486,000 likes. The content was shared, at least from the YouTube page, 13,000 times, which I appreciate. That helps more than you know. And there were 67,000 comments, because you guys had a lot to say. And probably one of the most interesting and, oh god, did I actually do that, metrics, and that's the amount of videos that were made. The amount of videos that debuted on StephenPlays in the last 365 days is the highest amount of videos that we have ever produced, by 7. Last year, we released, or the last set of 365 days, we released 921. This set, from February 7th, 2017 to February 7th, 2018, we released 928. 928. It's a lot of videos. It's a whole lot of videos. I would say too many videos. In fact, one of my goals for 2018 is to produce less videos, because that is many videos. You might be saying, okay, that's cool. How are you planning to do that? Are you going to like change some stuff? No. No, there's no changes that we're looking at in the schedule. But Steven, you might ask, how then will you produce less videos? I won't. It's just something I think should happen. It's not something that I'm actually doing. And therein lies a huge problem. Other fun metrics. Highest watch time. It's always fun to see what people are watching. YouTube very much values watch time. In fact, they value it over the view count, because to them, watch time signifies how much time you're actually spending on the site. A single view on a video that is 2 minutes long and 200 minutes long is not worth the same to YouTube. They'd much rather you stick around for that 200-minute video. So, highest watch time in the last 365 days, which video was it? In first place, with 2 million minutes, is The End of Skyrim. The End of Skyrim, since it debuted a few years ago, has continually been at the top of these lists for metrics. People are continuing to find out about the Skyrim series, which is awesome. I poured my heart and soul into that for years, and I'm glad that people are still discovering it and, more importantly, still enjoying it. Second place is 1.5 million minutes for the Runaway Guys Dungeons & Dragons. That was really cool because we had a lot of TRG fans coming over to watch that, and it's a longer video. That explains why it got such high watch time, is that there's a lot of people that never even seen anything related to Dungeons and Dragons. If you haven't seen that video, I highly recommend it. It's very funny because you have the Runaway guys, you've got Masay, you have myself, you've got all of these different humor styles in a very unique environment. It's a place where the Runaway guys have not had a chance to shine because they are always doing video games. It's kind of fun to see them in that environment and let their imaginations run wild. Highly recommended. And then third place for highest watch time was, with 800,000 minutes, is Skyrim #1. Obviously, people are learning about the series. They might want to start at the beginning, which they do. All right, so that's it for highest watch time. Let's go back to the metric that YouTube doesn't give a crap about anymore, and that's most viewed videos. This is the view count. You know, that big bold number that appears on all the videos. Number one, with 284,000 views, is, of course, The End of Skyrim, because if it has 2 million watch minutes, it probably has a lot of views, which it does. With 165,000 views, second place goes to Skyrim #1. Again, kind of expected. And then, something I'm pretty happy about, with 137,000 views, our third most viewed video goes to something completely different, Pikmin in real life. One of the cool things about 2017 was that we did some IRL videos in order to promote some Let's Plays, specifically Ocarina of Time and Pikmin 2. And they were super fun to make. We do plan on doing more of them in the future. And the Pikmin video specifically had a lot of attention. People really enjoyed it. And even if you don't want to watch Pikmin 2, like the Let's Play, you should check out the video. It's funny. It'll probably make you go, tee-hee, or something like that. All right, and now let's get to the meat and potatoes. If we released 928 videos last year, what the heck were they? Well, start at the top and go through them. So first and foremost, when our year switched over, when we went from year 6 to year 7, we were just releasing Ocarina of Time. Like, we had just released the live-action promotional and maybe episode 1, and that was it. So LPs released include Ocarina of Time. Basically, the entirety of Ocarina of Time came out in year 7. Halo 3 had finished, but Halo 3 ODST had just begun. Fallout 4 was trucking like it always does, because it's going to be trucking for a long, long time. Magic Duels was still a thing, remember? Before they canceled that game so they could work on the other Magic game they want to make. We did Kaladesh, Aether Revolt, and Amonkhet before they were like, yeah, we're not making that anymore. But we did the base game and all of the DLC. So if you want to see someone play Magic, sometimes very badly, you can go check out that series. It's still around. It's just a little one-off video for April Fool's Day, but we did NINTEN Pack, which appealed to a very small subset of the audience. That's fine. Then we did Super Mario 3D World. That was a series that we recorded back in December 2016 with not only Mal and myself, but also Alex and Haley. It is hilarious. It is very good. It is, in my opinion, one of the best series we've ever done, and it's probably because we had some really funny people with us. The adventures of Barry and Larry and Frog and Pesh are not to be missed, and you should check it out. It's not terribly long either, well worth your time, and we plan on revisiting that, like, this year. Seriously, because we only did like the first 8 worlds, and there's like some secret bonus worlds, and I actually just got back from Birmingham where I was visiting with Alex and Haley. We talked about it. We are hoping to record the rest of this year, so get excited for that. Then we did our Pikmin 2 live action video, which I already discussed, made it to one of our top viewed videos. Then we jumped into the Pikmin 2 campaign. Little did we know that, for one, we would lose our sanity for a long time to come, but also it would take forever. It would take forever. Pikmin 2 campaign was on the channel for like 6 months. For better or worse. If you liked Pikmin 2, it was good. If you didn't like Pikmin 2, you were like, oh my god, when's this going to end? That's fair. Mal and I did a small, brief game about swimming in the water called Abzu. It's super relaxing. It's only 5 episodes. If you ever feel stressed, if you're like, man, I really need to like take a break from life and just calm down, I highly recommend that LP. It's very good and very relaxing. We have been covering The Walking Dead on the channel, the Telltale Game, for several years, and we continued into Season 3. It's also likely that you'll be seeing Season 4 this year. They're supposed to release it this year, so if they do, they'll probably show up as well. Morning Mario hit its 500th episode, and with that, the biggest, most important change of the series thus far, and that is Facecam, aka this. we added face cam. I think it was a very positive decision. I've been having a lot of fun with it, and now Dan has a lot of fun with it. I did the first 560 episodes of Morning Mario myself. I've now handed that series over to Dan. We'll be talking more about Dan in a second. Also did Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. It was that game that was supposed to be DLC for Uncharted 4, but then they were like, we could probably make more money if we just sold it standalone, so they did, although it's still really good. Very good. It's easy to criticize when something was DLC and then it becomes a standalone game, but gosh, it's a good game, and it's worthy of the Uncharted logo title. Mal and I also covered Until Dawn, coming back to some horror roots. I've done the Amnesia games in the past. I wanted to do something horror. I wanted to bring Mal along to scare her, and scared she was. There's a lot of jumping. It's also the first series to feature dual face cam, because you get to see both Mal and myself at the same time. You get to see me do this, and Mal do this. It's fun. We did Super Nintendo Classics. Last year, when the NES Classic came out from Nintendo, we did a video on it every single day. This time we changed things up. We're doing a video every single week, and it's still ongoing because of that, because it's going to take a while. Speaking of, don't miss the one coming out this Sunday for Earthbound. It's really good, and it is done differently than the other ones. It's fun. Then we did Pikmin 2 Challenge Mode, because we had not had enough Pikmin just yet. We 100%ed Campaign Mode, and then Challenge Mode was like, well, let's go for broke. Fallout 4 hit episode 200. That is its own bullet point, because that is a lot of numbers. Extra Life 2017 happened. You guys are incredible. We did our annual charity stream, and you guys raised over $25,000 for our local children's hospital. It was a very fun night. We also learned a lot about how we should have some organization, and we are going to fix some stuff for Extra Life 2018. We are also hoping at this point in time to do GameCube. We are trying to finish the GameCube library before November. We're doing okay. Then, after that, I decided that I would do a PC game from 20 years ago called Outlaws, created by LucasArts. And everyone was like, what? And I said, no, it's this game that I played as a kid. Have you heard of it? And everyone's like, no. And I was like, I'm going to do it anyway. So I did. And I really enjoyed myself. It was a computer game that as a kid I could not beat, because it is hard. It's hard as an adult. And I was able to revisit it and play through it. It's really cool. It's a cult classic. And it's still relatively unknown. It's also the first Wild West first-person shooter. I highly suggest you give it a watch, even if you just give the first handful of episodes a watch. The first handful of episodes is the campaign. It's got a good story. It's a very unique game. It's dated, but it's fun, in my opinion. Then, after Fallout 200, we took a brief hiatus from doing Fallout just because I was working on NORA episodes, and I have a separate bullet point for that also. Fallout 4 NORA, because I'm crazy. I'm actually crazy, and I believe wholeheartedly in story, and I wanted to do something special for Fallout, like I did for Skyrim, and I spent a ridiculous amount of time working on these special NORA episodes. So it gets its own bullet point. Also released a brief mini golf Let's Play that was shot at the Minneapolis Walker Art Museum, because for whatever reason this art museum had its own miniature golf. It was cool, we did that. Single video on Pikmin 2 Battle, thus ending the Pikmin 2 saga that lasted on the channel for a long time. I think in total, including the challenge videos, I believe Pikmin 2 was on the channel for like 8 months. AKA a while. The Extra Life 2017 VODs came out. We also did an extra bonus video. I don't know if you guys knew that. In addition to releasing videos of all the games that we played during Extra Life, Mal and I went back and recorded the end of Mario Party 3, because we had done the first part of a Mario Party 3 board during the stream for charity, but because we left it, unended, we were like, yeah, we should go back and do that. So there's a little bonus there for you as well. We did the first ever annual first 20 top 10. That's the hardest thing I've ever had to say. Where I took a look at all of the first 20s that we released in 2017 and decided that I would choose some that I wanted to say were good. the games themselves were good. It was a labor of love. It was something that I really wanted to try. It allowed me to stretch editing muscles and creativity muscles that I don't normally get a chance to stretch. If you haven't seen that, give it a watch. It's well worth your time, and it's not very long. It's like 15 minutes, and it's actually one of my favorite videos I made last year. And I say annual because I would like to make it an annual thing. Hopefully at the end of 2018, I'll be making another top 10 video. I also released Mao and I released a voting video, and that voting video allowed you guys to pick for the first time in channel history what you wanted to see. You guys voted for Super Mario 64, and that was the next LP that we did. It is currently ongoing, and it is fun. It's very fun. It's fun to go through this game again with Mao. It's fun to see her get better. Like, legitimately better. Like, if you watch her play in the first episode compared to watching her play in the recent episodes, like, there's a noticeable skill improvement, and it's really nice. Also, finally got back to the Assassin's Creed series. It's been 2 years since I started Revelations, and finally got back to doing Assassin's Creed with Assassin's Creed 3. Fallout 4 just ended the main story. Stuff's happening over there. And then, of course, there was a myriad of other videos that we released. First 20. Obviously, there was a first 20, I think with the exception of 1 week. There's a first 20 every single Friday for the last year. It's a lot. We've really focused on showing off some really cool new titles, some AAA, but a lot of indie stuff, and I'm proud of that. I think that's a good move for us. There has been hundreds of episodes of Morning Mario. We also used to do special episodes every 100 episodes. Now they're happening every 50, so you're getting Morning Mario even more frequently than you did before. And now, two big things that are super important to me, and it's going to lead into another thing that I really want to say. There was an episode of Stephen and Friends every Saturday for the entire last year. Every single Saturday. The first Saturday of the month was a GTA Online episode. Every single time. That means you got, whatever it was, 52 episodes of Stephen and Friends, 12 of which were GTA Online, and there were bonus videos in there too. Like, there was bonus episodes of GTA Online that would also come out because we just shot too much. Oh no, extra content. And the reason that I wanted to say something special about those is that those series, Stephen and Friends and GTA Online, existed last year because of Dan. They existed because of Dan, because I was having such a hard time keeping up with things that I could not do it. That's why GTA Online was gone for such a long time. That's why Stephen and Friends was just like, every once in a while we'd be like, bloop, and you'd be like, oh wow, Stephen and Friends, neat. And then it'd be months, and there'd be another one, bloop. People that know me well, and also not well, I'm sure that you guys just watching the videos know, I take on a lot. Sometimes it's not a good or healthy amount. And in doing so, it means that other series that were staples on the channel for a while, like GTA Online, Stephen and Friends, took a back seat. But Dan moved to the area. He started doing a lot of extra work for us and taking some of the load that we were working on so he could do it. And those series existed because of him. So, huge round of applause to Dan. And I also want to say a huge round of applause because Dan edited every single main series LP last year, with the exception of Fallout and Cat World, Super Mario 3D World. Those are the only series, the only main series that he did not edit. All the other ones, yeah, he edited those. If you watched a main series on StephenPlays last year, Dan edited it. He is a vital member of our team, and I can say with certainty that we absolutely could not do what we do without him. So again, Dan, thank you. We appreciate it. So that is everything that happened last year. There was a lot of stuff. We released a lot of videos. I do want to, at some point, maybe slow it down a little bit. I am grateful for Dan, who has taken on a lot of the editing responsibilities on the channel, which is great. I'm super grateful that some of my personal favorite series, Stephen and Friends and GTA Online, have made a comeback. Based on, just the comments and stuff that we read from you guys. It seems like you like it, so that's good. We're going to continue to make that a priority. We did not miss a release last year. We did not miss a single release. I'm really proud of that, and that's going to be a priority as we go into this next year, to always make sure that there is content Saturday night on Stephen Plays. So even if you don't watch anything else we make, come by Saturday evening for something to watch. Now, this is the part of the video where we talk about the future, because some of you might be interested in some of the future projects that we're working on and some of the things that we're thinking about. Now, I will do a small plug, for my Patreon, and I'm going to talk a little bit, tiny bit at the end about that, because it's very relevant to Stephen Plays in the future of the channel. But a lot of this future information is stuff that we've already talked about on Patreon. You do not have to join the Patreon, but if you do, we do discuss this sort of thing, and I get feedback from patrons. Plug over. Future projects that we are thinking about. Finding Paradise. If you don't know what that is, it is the sequel to the Moon. To the Moon was a incredible story experience. It actually won, I'm going to forget now, it won the best story in the same year that Xenoblade Chronicles and Catherine came out. Like, To the Moon, which was a game made by one person in RPG Maker, won best story. And it deserved it because it was incredible. Anyway, the sequel to that game is finally out. Mal and I will be covering that most likely after Super Mario 64, so that'll be coming soon. Another game that we're really thinking about, and this might seem off the wall, Kirby Star Allies. Kirby Star Allies. We were thinking about doing Epic Yarn, because we did the poll that you guys voted for Super Mario 64. We were thinking about doing Epic Yarn, and we're like, you know what? Around that time, Kirby Star Allies will be out. Maybe we'll just do that. So, not sure, but we might do Kirby Star Allies this year. We've already announced that we wanted to do What Remains of Edith Finch, but we're going to be pairing that with Unfinished Swan, which is by the same developer. Both games are super short. They'll be released as a pair, so you'll get Unfinished Swan first, and then What Remains of Edith Finch. That's something that we want to do this year. This is also the year that I would really like to return to the world of BIOSHOCK by doing BIOSHOCK 2. It's probably obvious, but when we get back to doing Fallout's on a tiny hiatus right now while I work on a mini doc because I love work. Once we get back to Fallout, we're going to be doing Nuka World, the DLC. And a series that has not been around for a while on the channel is Magic, and that will be coming out this year, hopefully. It's up to Wizards, really, with Magic Arena. Magic Arena is the game that replaced Magic Duels. It's currently in beta, and they don't want any footage of that circulating. So I'm waiting for the full release of Magic Arena to come out, but when it does, there's a good chance that Magic will return to the channel in some shape or form. Another series you guys might be pretty excited to know is going to be coming back this year is The Sims. The Sims is coming back, and the reason is people have been asking for years, when is The Sims coming back? But the thing they failed to realize is that The Sims existed when Skyrim ended. The Sims couldn't exist until Skyrim ended, because Skyrim was filmed one at a time. The Sims, in order to work, at least for my vision of the series, is that it has to be filmed one at a time. I cannot do two one-at-a-time series at once. I would die. I'm already like, I'm doing too much. This is really stupid. What have I done? Doing two of those at once would be not good. So once Fallout ends, which I'm estimating it's probably going to be like May. It's going to be like early summer. Fallout, I think, will finally come to a close. When it does, we are going to briefly bring back The Sims for a revitalization. It's going to be back for probably another, I don't know, season. The first one was 10 episodes. It's likely that it'll come back for another 10 episodes, filmed one at a time. That's the goal. That's what I would like to do. You might be saying, which game? I have other questions. DLC? To which I'm going to say, I'm not answering any of them. Let's get that far first. Now, after The Sims ends, we will be replacing it with the next long-term LP, which I announced at the end of Ocarina of Time. That is Zelda Breath of the Wild. Mal and I will be doing a co-op LP of Breath of the Wild. Another thing you guys will be like, are you doing 100%? I'm not answering that. Although Dan says I shouldn't. Dan's like, you really shouldn't do that. He's like, those Korok seeds, there's a million, and they're hard to find, and you don't get anything worthwhile. So we're going to play the game. I'll announce that much. We plan on playing the game. It should be fun. Another game that will likely be happening later in the year when it finally releases is Red Dead Redemption 2. Red Dead Redemption 1 was one of my favorite games of all time. I like Wild West games, I guess. It also has one of my favorite endings in video games. It's fantastic. And Red Dead Redemption 2 is being released. It's from Rockstar. And it's actually a prequel to Red Dead Redemption 1. So even if you've never played or seen Red Dead Redemption 1, that's okay. You can start at Red Dead Redemption 2, which is where we're going to be starting whenever we bring it to the channel later this year. The final future thing, and it's really scary to say this, really scary, because I don't want to drop the ball and not do it. And if we roll around to this time next year and I haven't done it, then I didn't do it because I am the busiest human being on the face of planet Earth, but that's okay. Streaming. Since 2016, Mao and I have had strong plans for streaming, but we are busy. We are very busy, and we want to make this work. We would like to not... Let me clarify very quickly. We don't want to, like, move everything over to StephenPlays, or from StephenPlays over to Twitch or anything. No. YouTube is what we do. It's what we like to do, it's what we do. But I would like to do a weekly show. That is my hope, and I am announcing it here because I feel strongly enough about it, and I feel that it is likely enough to happen this year that I feel safe announcing it. There is a good chance that we will be doing a weekly, or maybe if we're really stretching it, bi-weekly show over on Twitch. Yeah, so we're not going to be the 3 times a week streamers that you watch. It would just be like, hey, join us this night for 3 hours and watch us do a thing. We're hoping to do that this year. Now, with all that being said, there's one other thing that I want to talk about as we end this video off, and it's very important, and I hope that you have stuck around this long. And if you have, awesome, because I want to know how we're doing. And I'm serious. Tell us how we're doing. Tell us what you like. What is it you like about StephenPlays? What is it that brings you back to the channel? What do you dislike? And be honest. You don't have to go all the way one or the other. You don't have to be pure praise or pure hate. You can talk about both. It's totally fine. But what are things that you dislike? What is something that you would change? If you were in control of how we ran the channel, what would you change? Like, what is something that that you would alter about how we do things on StephenPlays? We are genuinely interested to know. And that leads me into my final talking point, which is the most important of all. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching this past year. Thank you so much for watching at any point during the last 7 years. We sincerely appreciate it. And also a huge, huge thank you to everyone who supports us over on Patreon. This is not a spiel, this is not an ad, this is genuine heartfelt thanks, because maybe not everyone knows this, but StephenPlays and YouTube don't get along very well. And it has everything to do with algorithms. We grow slowly, very slowly, and our growth is actually slowed over the years. The quick version, and why we appreciate Patreon so much, is that, you know how on Facebook, if you talk to particular people, if you respond to their stuff, if you like their stuff, over time, Facebook will actually start showing you more of those people's stuff, even though you're following and in communication with other people. It's because you seem to enjoy the company of these people, so we're going to show you more of their stuff. Well, the same thing is true on YouTube. And if you are not watching a majority of a channel's content, YouTube stops giving you that content in your sub box. It stops recommending it around the site. And when you release 928 videos, there's a good chance that people aren't watching everything you do. That's fine. We designed the channel around that idea. That's why we have 3 Let's Plays going at once. We understand not everyone's going to want to watch everything. Maybe you just want to watch these 2 and skip this one. Maybe you only want to watch this one. That's fine. That's why we do that. The problem is, up until a few years ago, things were cool, we were growing, and then YouTube changed some algorithms and things got a lot more difficult for us. It negatively impacts us to release as much content as we do. But we do it anyway, because we want to do what we want to do. And that's why we wanted to say a quick thank you to Patreon, because you guys allow us the freedom to pursue these things, to be able to make as much content as we want, to be able to make the type of content that we want, to not have to produce sensationalist garbage with clickbait titles and thumbnails. My God. Thank you. Now, as I said before, we do still want to know what you like, what you dislike, what you'd be interested in changing. We always take your feedback to heart. We always have and we always will. So please continue to comment, continue to talk, but we don't bend to the algorithms.